And welcome back. Today we're going to take apart this hedge trimmer. This is the Black & Decker 40 volt, which is not exactly 40 volts, it's 40 volt maximum. It runs on more like 36 volts, I believe it was. But there are two versions of this. There's the 40 volt and the 20 volt. And this one, I've used this a couple of times. I am a commercial lawn service, is my day job. And I used this a couple of times. I have a review. If you want to see the review, there's a note, an annotation up on the top of the screen. Just click on that. It'll open in a new window so you don't have to lose your place on this video. But that would be a review on it, and you can see me actually using it. But it's very strong. It is just as strong as the regular commercial hedge trimmers that I use, and very impressed with it. I give it an A+ on performance. But the question is, how strongly is it built? Of course, it has the stronger power, so you got to wonder if it's built to accommodate that. And I wish I had the 20 volt model here to compare it to, but I don't. So we're going to take this apart. It looks like the handle and the guard has to come off first, because that's spanning around the two halves, and then it's just a whole bunch of screws on this side, and the two halves should come apart. And what I'm expecting to find in there is there's going to be a big electric motor, of course, right around here, and there'll be a disc on the bottom that has an arm on it that is attached to the bar, and as the disc goes around, the bar will be going forward and back, pushing and pulling. Unless they've figured out some other way to do it, that's probably the way they're going to do it. So I'll take the battery off, take all the screws off, and we'll get the two halves open and take a look at this. Okay, so that went really easy. It was just all the screws came out real easy, and there was no snaps or anything special holding it together. I've actually been in here already. I'm just showing the cover coming off. There's nothing on this side really. Over here, you've got the main guts of it. I'm delighted to see that the main gears are metal, and the base of the shafts are metal, the retainer's metal. So this is a nice solid construction. Boy, I just had this spinning. There we go. Alright, let me get to this wave. And something I didn't realize is that the tines are moving. Both of the tines are moving. I thought that one was going to be fixed and one moved on that one, but they both move. So you have them running opposite each other at the base. And I'll pull that apart so that we can see that mechanism. But that's really neat. And so this is definitely something that's going to have to come apart occasionally, or possibly even often, because it's going to have to be greased. And you know, I'm looking at this dark spray here. I'm hoping those aren't metal filings, but it's going to run out of grease. It's already, you know, as much as it is greasy, this is all going to come off of here. There's a bit of a buildup there, the base of the electric motor, but it is going to wear off. So I'm going to have to come in here every once in a while, or make myself a service hole on the bottom there that I can plug and just use the grease gun maybe. But it is a good solid construction. Now there is the motor, and it does say 36 volts right on it, but it reminded me of the Power Wheels motors, and so I went and I got one of those, and I'll hold it up against there. And they are the same physical size. Of course, they're different voltage. But that's why that reminded me of that. It looks exactly the same. This, of course, is the Power Wheels. I think we're running on 12 volts. But this is run on 36. So definitely different insides on those motors. Right here, we have the famous safety switch. You have to jam this way so that it can be clear for the main trigger to see. Right there, the trigger can't go. But if you were to push this way, then you can let it in. If you wanted to disarm that, you just take that out here, and now your thing will work. And that engages the switch right there. You can see boy, I've done something. Something got out of whack here, so I've got to get that back. But anyway, the switch is right there. And don't worry guys, the battery's not in. But the switch is right there. That makes contact, and it's just on or off. This is not a variable speed. Variable speed would be nice, but this is just on and off. So there's the motor and the gears and the switch, and we have a small circuit board, and I'll pull that out so that I can get up really super close and give a look at that. And so I think that's what I'm going to do next, is I'm going to pull all these things out of here to get a better look at them. Okay, so I'm going to start with the circuit board here, and I've put the macro lens on so that I can get in super close. And this is just for the electronic engineers that may be watching. I am absolutely not an electronics engineer, so I don't know exactly what's going on this circuit board, but I know that you guys like your numbers and your layouts, so I'm going to get in tight on this stuff so that maybe you can see the component numbers. And I will work on ways to make this camera steadier. There is nothing on the other side of the board. I'll flip it over at the end there. That looks like an important number. But definitely not much to the circuit board. Oh, there's something written on there. Again, I will work on ways to film these better, such as putting the camera on a tripod and maybe moving around the item. But on the back of this, there is nothing. It's just a layout. And I don't know much about this kind of thing. I am a big fan of EEV blog and the Ben Heck show, and so I am at the learning stage on these kind of things. In the meantime, I just like showing them. So that is the circuit board, and let me get this macro off of here, and then I will film the rest. Okay, so here we have it separated. I got the retainer off, retainer there, which is held on by 2 bolts, and then on the other side of it was the, where is it? Right there. Goes right there. And that gives, these are tapped, and that holds the, that's the screws, the bolts go into, you get it, it holds it onto the shaft. So anyway, here is the base of the gear, and it's all metal, and this is wonderful. Now, I haven't been able to get the, this plate off. Looks like you would have to drive through. You would have to use a tap through there and tap it off to get that whole thing to come off. And I just don't want to do that. I want to continue using this, so the more times you take something apart, the more you have a chance, especially if I'm going to be tapping or maybe prying. Could hurt that, but you get the gist of how this is working. There's these semicircles in there, and these pegs ride on those as it's going around, provided that the center is being kept in place by this shaft. Then I'm probably dwelling too long on this. Anyway, so there is another look at the switch, and there are the numbers on it. Other than that, we just have the plug-in for the lithium battery. There you go. It's like the, let's see here. There you go. And that's about all there is to it. The only thing I can think of to do now is take apart the batteries. There is a screw. There are screws on it, so the case definitely comes off, and I guess that's what we'll do next. We'll take that apart. And then we'll probably proceed to take the charger apart, just to make sure we completely void the warranty. So anyway, battery compartment next. Okay, so yes, I was able to get it back together, no problem. And I have tested it again, but I'll show you the operation. Very, very good machine. Okay, so now let's take apart the battery. Okay, so there it is with the top cover off. It was held on by these little funny, tiny Torx bit screws. You see there. And then it came right off. And we got these side plates here. Now I know I've had many people warn me not to touch this because I think that the deal is you can get zapped pretty good. I'm going to get the cover plate on the other side. Showing all your contacts. Now the battery does say Samsung right there, or the battery, the cell's in there. But there's another couple of screws on the other side here. And so I'll get in there and oh, there it is. I'll get those two screws off and see if we can get this all the way apart. Okay, so here we go. I've had this plate off already, but I wanted to show you coming off. And there we go. Getting a little more interesting. And I have put the macro lens back on so I can get in super tight on this stuff and show you around the circuit board. Now it is a single-sided circuit board that's flush up against there. I mean, there might be more, but this is not something I'm going to take off because everything's soldered in place, and to get that off you would have to break solder joints from what I can see. So I'm going to leave that there. There's just a ribbon cable right there going to, this is the lock that locks the battery into the main unit back there. And that's all that is. Except for, well, I never even looked here. This does appear to be a display panel. I'm going to have to look to see what that does when you plug it in. But anyway, single-sided, I'm trying not to touch any of the metal parts. Single-sided circuit board. We have this interesting thing right here. But other than that, I'm going to get up to the top and show around the circuit board without being very careful. Of course, I just did it, didn't I? So here we go. Okay, looks like this is as close as I can get right here. You know, it does appear as though it got hot at some point. This has been charged up twice. See if I can get some shading. Might be able to show that number ATP112. Then I'm tempted to say this object below it is a diode, but I'm not committing to that because I'm aware that if you get something wrong, you'll never hear the end of it. So whatever it is, it does appear to have some, it's in some paste. I've got to imagine that's a thermal paste, but I might be wrong about that too, so I'm not committing to that. Anyway, that is a look inside the battery pack. We do have 10 cells there, and they were Samsung's. There's a number. I do wish that I could have gotten the number off the cell there. Almost. Wonder if I can spin that around in there. Probably not. Anyway, I apologize. Best I can do there. So what I'll do now is I'll put the battery pack back together and we'll take apart the charger. Okay, so I'm about to get into the charger, but I wanted to show the label on the battery to give you just the basic specs there that it lists. And then on the back of the charger, it is showing what it's doing here. So it's showing that it's not 40 volts all the time, it's 40 volt max, 36 volt. Input 1 amp, 120 volts AC, 60 hertz. And then it just says output 1.35 amps, and it doesn't list a voltage. I would guess 36 volts. Anyway, just showing that before I take this apart. Okay, and so here is the inside of, I should have shown, okay, so that's the bottom cover right there, and this of course is the top, and this is the way it was in there. And it is a double-sided board. I'm going to start on this side. I've still got the macro on, so I'm going to go in tight and show around. Of course, I know you're probably wondering, electronic engineer is going to want to know what's on the other side of this, so I'll flip it over momentarily. Got a number here. Oops, as close as I can get. Just the tiniest little switches. These are very small. And I have a higher power macro lens, kind of new to filming circuit boards. If it becomes necessary to come in tighter on those, I can do that. These three right here are on the opposite side of what it appears to be a relay. I'm going to open this up the rest of the way now. So here we go. We've got two transformers. And we've got some printing on there. Let's go look at that. Nice big capacitor. And you know, I used to be able to read the value. I would have to look back and see the color coding to figure out the values on those. And then another transformer. Okay, now here's the other side of those 3 switches I was showing. Appears to be a relay to me, but I may be wrong. Got this curious little box here. Reading 250 volts, whatever it is. It's right at the base of the power cord. And there is a little light that changes colors according to whether or not it's charging properly or improperly. And this definitely has some kind of a thermal protection, because when I first tried to charge it, it wouldn't charge. It was giving me the blinking red light, meaning that there was something wrong. And it turns out that I was trying to charge it while the charger was in direct sunlight, which means that the charger was getting too hot and it thought it was overheating. Putting it in the shade, let it go to a green blinking light. Okay, so there's the main number on the circuit board. And what's this up here? Anyway, that's a look inside there. These wires are just attached to the contacts right there. Charging port. And that's all we got. So that's what's inside the charger. And that pretty much wraps it up for the whole thing. I can't seem to pan back because the diopter is on. Let me get that off of there. I think. There we go. Okay, back to normal. And so that wraps it up for this. This is the this has been fun. It's interesting. It seems to be a very well built unit. I'm happy with it, and I feel good that it's going to last for at least a couple of years. I'm probably going to be using it commercially. Again, I'll put that link up there again if you want to see this actually in operation. The link up there will take you to my actual review on my lawn service channel, so that you can see it working. But it looks pretty solid, and you know, it's metal inside. It's very good. So I guess that wraps it up for this one. Stay tuned for lots and lots more. I don't know what's going to be next. We've got this oddball little duster over here, which is O-Cedar's sort of answer to the Rumba, but it's not. It's not even a vacuum cleaner. But it has, you know, it's electric. It's got little wheels on it and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to take that apart next. Or something else, probably something else, something more interesting like this. This has been pretty neat. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for lots and lots more. Everybody have a good day.